Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Douglas, and we're talking about Claim to Fame finale.
That's right. We finally get to talk about the last couple episodes, actually. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Yay! We had episodes 7 and 8 happen this week.
Mm,
Nothing last week. And I guess right off the top, we just got to say congratulations, Adam, huh?
yeah, congratulations, Adam. For better or worse, I feel like I called it a long time ago,
You did.
and it's something that's unique about Claim to Fame is one, people are not coming into the house with the same type of strategy plans that you see on other competition reality shows. In my opinion, they're not maybe as deep,
Yeah.
and that's a bit to the earliness of the show, but also I think it's just the nature of the casting for the show, and then the the fact that you're not voting people out, and that your elimination is not necessarily merit based. Okay, so if you say Amazing Race or something like that that's merit based, or Survivor, or Big Brother that is, you know, voting based, right? The only way to get people out on the show is to have them either guessed or have them guess wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
What?
they there was no strategy for getting Adam out.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that you got to have strategy, and we had better strategy in previous seasons. I would say that this is the first season we've had a little lacking of strategy, and I do think that that's how Adam wound up with the win. But at the same time, it is a little merit based because he did figure them out. And honestly, he was the only one to figure the others out without any help because no one was helping
Well,
him.
are you
And he
saying
was
people
like
weren't
in the
helping Adam?
hospital. Nobody
I
was
mean,
helping him. He was also in the hospital.
I
And
guess
so,
Shane helped him a little bit. I think Shane ended up having
yeah.
a lot more uh, game
Yeah, I think Shane did great.
than we ended up maybe seeing in the edit, because
Uh huh.
there were some things that were revealed in this last episode where you started seeing like, oh, I think Shane was figuring some stuff out, and he was a had a good trajectory towards a victory because he was the other person that nobody knew anything about.
Right?
Uh, his bottle was the last bottle left in the wine room. He had Nobody had good guesses on him, and definitely nothing that would take them to the iconic person that he's related to.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that came out sort of last minute. You're right. No one knew Shane forever. I mean, we just found
We
out
figured,
Shane
right, but
late.
we
Yeah.
figured it out before, you know.
Yeah, but just recently, right? Just a couple weeks ago, I feel like
Yeah.
we figured him out. But that takes us to this first part of these two episodes because this is ultimately going to take Shane out here. We had a really fun challenge that we've seen before where they have to sort of fill up the columns for each person, what their
Known
nickname,
as.
what they're
Yeah.
known for, like someone they might have worked with before, a show. And surprisingly, really, I mean, no one did great
But I have
except
to
for
raise my hand.
Mackenzie. Oh,
Yeah, I got to raise my hand here and say, just like I don't think you should be allowed to blow up someone's game after you
aha.
get out. You know, I didn't like that they let Danny just like,
Throw Mackenzie under the bus.
yeah, or but just like basically say her clue out loud. Like
Yeah.
I don't like that. I think that that's a flaw. I also think it's a flaw to use part of a person's name as their nickname. That is
Oh,
unacceptable. That is unacceptable to say.
Cougar.
He's known as John Cougar Mellencamp. That was an official name that he went by. Even if he goes by John Mellencamp now, he went by John Cougar and John Cougar Mellencamp professionally. That is a name. You can't use part of his name
I,
as the nickname.
yeah. Yeah. And I was shocked that we didn't get any of HUD saying that in the edit, but I bet you they just didn't include it because cougar is such a giveaway, and especially for someone like
It's his
Adam who
name.
was on to Mellencamp. I think he was on to it. So as soon as he sees cougar, it's like confirmed. Absolutely. It is part of
It,
the name. I
it's the
agree that
equivalent of
was
me.
totally unfair.
It's equivalent of me saying like, "Well, you're known as Atwood" to
Yeah,
to some people.
right.
It's just part of your name.
It's part of my name. Like if that was your clue,
Hey,
that's
Atwood, how
not a
you doing?
nickname. Everyone else's nickname was like,
The
what
big
was
man.
Michael Bolton's was like the love time, fun time. Like it was like what? I don't even know these
Yeah, it was
nicknames. And
like
then
big
cougar.
man. It was like mumbles. It was like
Yeah,
mumble mouth. You remember?
right.
They
Yeah,
were
I
they
agree.
were
That was
actual
a
nicknames.
such a. I thought that was unfair. I mean, it really sealed it for Adam.
I think Adam
Mackenzie.
was. Do you think Adam was already there
Yeah, I think Adam was already there. So as soon as you see
for HUD?
Cougar, you're like, yeah, no, that's it. Mackenzie wasn't close, and she was thinking what I thought. I was like, well, Cougar could also be an older woman, right?
Hmm.
So that's where her brain went. But that's because she wasn't on the right track. But she is
what
going
are
to
the
be the
levels
only.
of what are the levels of older women? Uh, like they're cougars, but aren't there like guys are
Are there
silver
more?
foxes? Well, I thought that there was. I thought there were other animals in the.
There might be. I'm not familiar with them, but
Because
like a
like you have a
silver
fox and
fox
then a
is just
silver
a
fox.
good-looking man who has gray hair. A cougar insinuates she's going for younger men. It's you cannot compare. Those are not the same thing.
Well, I understand, Adam. Within the biological sphere, that those there are different phylums and maybe even different genus. But I'm not trying to get scientific with you, Sarah. I'm just saying. But like you don't, yeah, because you don't call younger men foxes unless it's Michael J. Fox. But you don't call. I feel like fox is more of a term. Is fox more of a term for women, or is fox more of a term for men?
No, I think a
If you're
fox is
if you're
a
saying that
good-looking
person's foxy,
person, but if you
so
say
men
they're
or women,
foxy, it's a
yeah,
woman, right? I don't know. A guy could be foxy, but you'd say he's a fox. I
right.
don't think
Okay, so
anyone has said that in decades. I've not heard any. Put it on TikTok. Say he's a fox.
well, you know me. I'm only going to go for that old reference. So, but what about like I thought cougar was an evolution of the feline associations that people make with women. Like felines often have a feminine reflection in that reference.
Okay. I sounds good. I don't know. Anyone else on
I felt like there was another term in addition to cougar.
there might be, babe. I don't know. I have no idea. Sophie, it was surprising except it wasn't surprising. Towards the end. Oh,
Well,
here we go.
and we'll talk about
Pumas are younger
pumas.
versions.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Pumas.
Yes.
There you go. And
Way to help
Adidas.
Douglas out.
I'm not sure what
Adidas.
Adidas are. They're somewhere in there, a little bit older, a little bit younger. Um,
Can I get back to the challenge?
yeah, let's get back to the challenge.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no one did great. No one did great here. We had
Well, Mackenzie, didn't she? She
7.
got 7 right. The guys got 4 right. We didn't hear exactly how many Shane got, but it was less than 7 because Mackenzie's gonna win. I did think it was cute, wasn't it? Frankie who was like, "Ooh, I think I figured out Shane" during
Yeah.
this. We didn't get confirmation if he was right, but that's
I
cute.
think I thought he had already figured it
I
out.
mean, he said he did. So,
Yeah.
so Mackenzie is going to be able to pull the last clue, and like you already mentioned, it's going to be Shane, and this is one of the easier clues that they have given. I thought this clue was a dead giveaway. She's going to struggle, though, to figure out who it is because she just seems like she has a younger range of information. But as soon as she shares it with HUD, Oh my God, HUD turned out to be like the biggest Marlon Brando fan.
Right. I mean, he was quoting him. He knows every single movie he's been in. He immediately makes the connection with Superman, which even for you who know Marlon Brando, you were like, oh, was he? You know, like that was
Yeah.
like, that was, so, you know, HUD knows this. So they both know this top to bottom. But we are in a situation now that this really goes to final challenge. I think we'll talk deep about the final challenge, but
Right. Right. But at this point, Mackenzie and HUD are figuring out Marlon Brando, but they still have that mentality of like, get Adam out. So we do have this edit of, does Adam know Mackenzie? Because that's her biggest fear. If we put Adam up, which is what the guys are really pushing for, put Adam up. He doesn't know anything. He's just going to go home. And she's like, I can't risk it because he was walking by the clue wall, pulling out clues, veterans, honky tonk, whatever he was pulling out. Like he was 100% on the Trace Adkins train. Whether he had the name yet or not, we aren't quite sure.
or the Clay Atkins or the Chet Atkins. He was bringing
Yeah,
them
a
all
little
to the
Clay
table.
Akins mixed in there.
Yeah.
So you and I watching this together, we were really worried that they were going to put Adam up and he was just going to take HUD out
Yeah.
because they're toying with us. Does he know Mackenzie's relative or not? But we know he knows HUD's.
Yeah.
So you put Adam up there, I think HUD was going home.
Yep. And HUD was the one who was making the biggest case for putting Adam up there because he had
Yes.
the biggest inside track with. Are they? Do we find out if they are a couple?
Yes. We forgot to mention, like at the top of this episode, we see Flirty
Lovey-dovey.
Flirtmance.
Yeah.
And it definitely continued through these episodes. But yeah, in their exit press, they have said that they have gone back and forth to visit each other, met each other's families, calling it hanging out. But yes, they are seeing each other.
Well, I mean, that's all anyone does these days. I think.
Is just hang out.
Yep. And yeah, anyone under 30, it's all open field.
We didn't. Let me pull up Shane's clue.
Yeah, I feel like the wine clues could be like, how were they vetted? Like, are they vetted by a clue master? Are they vetted by someone who can say, like, all right, this is a level C pictogram. You know, I think we're at a point in history where someone could be able
You
to
think there
evaluate.
needs to be a bit more vetting? Well, this one was
Evaluate a
as
pictogram.
easy as they come. Hollywood icon with Italian kingpin roll. My goodness. Now, if you don't know who Marlon Brando is, then yeah, you're like, well, who is that? But
But if you say Italian kingpin roll,
Yeah.
like
especially if
would
you
just
say it to a man, if you say it to a
Right.
dude,
But you would just say, okay, well, let me line up the most famous Italian kingpin role. Okay, first,
Yeah.
Marlon Brando in The Godfather. Second, Al Pacino in The Godfather.
Okay.
Third, like you just start.
yeah. Well, and we didn't even really talk about the streetcar and the clue wall for this because I think we were assuming it was San Francisco for John Stamos for Full House. But then when HUD's like streetcar, I was like, yes, streetcar for Marlon Brando.
But Full House wasn't shot in San Francisco.
It wasn't filmed in San Francisco, but it was supposed to be.
Uh-huh.
Took
Where
place
was it
in
filmed?
San Francisco. It was filmed at Warner Brothers Television, Warner Brothers Studio in Hollywood.
In Hollywood, California, where we are right now.
Hollywood,
Just a stone's throw from where
California.
we are. But don't throw stones at Studio C.
So this last guess off is really exciting because Mackenzie's been convinced that Adam needs to go up there. HUD is like, please save Marlon Brando, Shane as our like given, then we win. And I got that. I get that because you were like, don't save him. Save
Oh my
yourself,
good.
Mackenzie.
I
You were
was
really,
so I was so tense at this point,
yeah.
y'all. Uh, I was climbing up the walls. I probably said it 100 times. I was like, Mackenzie, do not. Why? Why? There would be no reason to
Yeah.
to,
And again,
to
I
take
think
that
she was
out of
going to
your
take,
hands.
yeah, I think he was going to end up taking Hud out, unfortunately. But either way, I don't think Adam was going to go. He knew more than they realized. And she did the right thing because she had the tiebreaker vote. She made it come down to a tie, obviously.
Hmm.
Uh, it was between Adam and her. And she says, I'm going to be the guesser. And we were
Hmm.
like,
And this is why I'm surprised the relationship lasted, because I feel like HUD was disappointed in her as if he had the answer. It was just like, I mean, he again, this from this point forward, they are not playing together, and
well,
that
she
ends
has
up to be
to
their
play
undoing.
her for self, right? She has to play for herself. And that's how you play this game. And if he was going to not like her because she was playing for herself, that would be really poo pooey. So I'm glad that it didn't hold over outside of the game.
But
They're
it
still
definitely,
cute together.
yes. I mean, I've again, you can watch back. I said HUD was adorbs to begin with. I think
But
he
to
was
begin with,
yeah.
absolutely.
Uh,
So she is going to pull Shane up there and she's going to guess Marlon Brando, and she is absolutely correct.
I
And
feel like he was a little surprised by it.
a little bit, but he knew she pulled his wine clue, so
Yeah.
I don't think he was I think he was surprised that she wasn't letting Adam guess. I think that's where he was surprised,
Uh-huh.
right? Sad to see Shane go. I really enjoyed watching him play. Bummed he got out, but I would have done the same thing if I were Mackenzie.
Right, and he had already given Adam uh, the hair, the ball ads.
Ballads, yeah.
Yeah, so he'd already given Adam that, so we knew that Adam had. Uh,
Well, but that's Adam's
oh
clue,
no,
right?
he'd already given HUD that. Who did he give that
Yeah,
to?
he
HUD.
gave it to Hud. Shane shared
HUD.
just about everything, I
Because
feel like.
because at this point, Mackenzie and HUD do not know Adam's
No, they have
clue.
no idea who
They're
Adam
still
is
on
related
Brett
to.
Michaels.
Yes. And I think that that's part of the problem because Mackenzie is pretty sure it's Brett Michaels. Like, that's the problem, is because they think they know it, but they're incorrect. And they have no idea about each other, right? So they've been working together this whole time. They're in love. They think they know Adam, and they don't know who each other is related to. And I think that's where we go wrong in this last challenge. Now, this last challenge was super fun, though.
Yeah, I thought they
It was
did a really
like,
good job this year of because I love these in general. I because they seem impossible to me, so they're very exciting for me. Whether they're Amazing Race, where you have to go back. A lot of these shows where the last challenge is how much do you remember about everything that's happened thus far.
yeah,
But this one in particular, because they all have these books that they're writing in all the time, they should have a pretty high level of remembering what these challenges are, because they've written down afterward, these were the words that were out there, these were the things. So it really is. I liked how physical this competition was, uh, because they all seemed to be able to kind of have the information, or I felt like they had a good beat on what the information was, and so the physical element and the cerebral element really matched up well for me. I thought it was really exciting to watch
it was. So they're doing little
until
mini
disaster.
versions of the past challenges. And there's these massive billboards that are like slowly being revealed. And when the billboard is finally revealed, it's obviously not a photo of the person, but while it's revealing, they're showing like a photo of the actual person.
No, it's a photo of the person, of the player
Right.
posed on one of that person's album covers. So
Yes,
every single one of
ultimately.
those images was an album cover with that person posed on that album cover.
But in the middle there, when they were like grainy,
Uh-huh.
it was an image of Michael Bolton and
Oh,
Trace Adkins.
I thought it was still that same image that they reveal. It's just that
Yeah.
when it's evolving, if you were going to say, what is that? You'd say, oh, that's a Atkins album cover. But when it's fully revealed, you see that it's her face, not.
Right. No, it was
Yeah.
tricky there in the middle because you could look and see the outline of the actual relative,
Hmm.
which is where Mackenzie realized that's not Brad Michaels. Like halfway through here. So she's going for HUD. HUD was going for Adam, but then he gets thrown that she's going for him. So he switches over to Mackenzie. Adam,
Did they not talk about this ahead of time? Was that not in
no,
the edit? Why
that
didn't they
it
talk
wasn't.
about
It didn't
this?
happen. She confirmed in the her exit press they didn't talk about it and that was their flaw, that they should have worked together
Oh my
because
goodness.
it's an elimination challenge. All you have to do is eliminate Adam and then it's down to the two of you. It is that simple. We've seen these in a
Yeah.
thousand of these shows and I can't believe that they didn't understand the
But
strategy of this game.
that was exactly, and that was, this is completely different than choosing to make fire or not make fire to go to the final two. You know, like that still has, that's a dicier choice,
Yes.
right? That's a
Yes.
much that's a much dicier choice.
We're not comparing those. Uh-huh.
But I'm saying, like, when you say of a show where you're going 3 to 2,
Uh-huh.
right? This one is, we work together, done. It's down to just the two of us, right?
Yeah, wait
Then
till
you
it's down to the two of you. Yeah.
and then you know, great, I have a 50% chance. Yeah,
Yes.
it was just, that was the most frustrating thing. And then we have the horrible accident.
Oh, Adam. Adam, because nobody's helping him,
Oh,
which honestly, I don't blame people for not helping him, but he has to run the obstacle course. And true to nature, Adam is going to injure himself. He did it the first time he ran the obstacle course, but this time he gets clobbered bad. He is bleeding. We
irresponsible stanchions, folks. You can see me.
They
It's
needed
most of what I
sandbags.
it's most of what I post about online is irresponsible use of stanchions in society. But these are definitely, they're just these are like regular, like, velvet ropes, and so obviously one of those metal posts
Oh,
came over and
hit
cut his
his
head
head,
open.
bust his head open. They've stopped down. We hear the producers, everybody hold. We see him go over to the side. They can't get it glued shut.
Which I've had my head glued shut, haven't I? So
Yes, this
what?
is very
Wait, why
close to
did my
home.
head? Why did my head crack? Oh, the air conditioning unit.
Yes, he fell headfirst into the air conditioner
into
unit.
like the
Oh,
into like an air conditioning unit, like
the
the
corner.
the metal corner of an air conditioning unit went into my head. I was wearing a hat. I think I passed out, and then I crawled inside, literally on my hands and knees, and I still have my knit cap on, and I'm lying on the floor. And Sarah comes in, and she pulls my hat off, which was at that point a blood bucket. And so she takes the bucket of blood off my head, and then my head, she allows all of the blood out. Thankfully, it released a lot of the evil spirits. I don't know if any of you practice trepanation, but it's a good way to get evil spirits out of you. But once the evil spirits are out, you got to close up that wound. And they took,
Oh, this is
she
a
took me,
true story. He
she
comes
took,
crawling into the house. And when I pulled that hat off, I was
Jeez.
like, oh my God, we're going to the ER right now. We had to race and go get his head
Yeah.
glued back together. It was terrifying.
Hey partners of people who get seriously injured. One, don't get in a relationship with a person with a very expressive face. Uh, two, if you can avoid that person being Sarah, do the best because
Oh yeah, I'm not hiding
here's
any of
here,
that.
here's what you
I
get
was
from a
like,
Sarah.
yeah. I was like, get in the car. We're
Uh,
going.
oh my goodness, yeah. I
But
love
anyway,
her
back to
expressive face at most
Adam's
times, but when
head.
my head's bleeding, it's not.
Yes,
But
right?
they glued my head together.
They did. Yours, luckily, did glue together, and you were good to go. But his is not gluing together.
No,
Of course, they were like spray aerosol. You had much better glue, but it wasn't a
no.
spray aerosol glue. They were
It
just
was,
like
wasn't it? Yeah.
scotch glue. Um,
Scotch
so
glue.
they end up wrapping up his head, and it looks like they're going to take him away, but then they did say like, okay, you can go back to the challenge, just like don't run, be careful, let us know if you get nauseous or anything like that. They're just keeping an eye on him. So we
Hmm.
are going to be able to get back into the game so dramatically. But at this point, they've let him win. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't have to do anything. They're Mackenzie and Hud are taking each other out. Boom. Adam is going to have complete control over the last part of this game.
And this is where I think he knows this. Yeah, I do. Autumn, it at least made it tense television, like because you were
Yeah.
just like, stop doing this. It's like watching this destruction take
Yeah.
place. Uh, but I have a comment about what happens. Well, yes, but because of Sarah knows a lot more about royalty than I do, but we have no king's horses or king's men around.
No. Mm-mm.
So it was Sarah that was
Couldn't
left to
put
put
him
my head back together again, and
couldn't put them back together again.
a couple doctors. But yeah, so they mess up this challenge, and once that is over, you're just like, well, game's over. And this is when Sarah, is there anything more about the competition that you want to say?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Go for
So
it.
then Adam's playing pool with people, right?
Oh, yeah.
And who's the gal that's listening around the corner?
That was Bianca.
Bianca. I think at this point, Adam is so aware of how much he's going to win.
Yeah.
I think he does. I think he does that. He does that on purpose. He doesn't care. He could
He
tell
doesn't
people.
care.
He could tell people, my celebrity is Michael Bolton.
Yeah, I
It
think you're
truly
right. I
just
think
doesn't
he
matter.
had such confidence at that time. He knew that he got to sort of control this end game. So who cares what people know? And he's sort of just throwing out hints. And he blatantly says, when a man loves a woman. I mean, like, that's the biggest. My gosh, that should have been on the wine bottle clue.
Yeah, he's like long hair, 90s. When a man loves a woman, he's like, because Dietrich and whom? Danny?
I think it was Shane, maybe.
Shane? But he was like, they were saying, we know who you are. And he was like, well, just say it. And they were
Well,
like,
everybody's being a little coy at that point. Like,
he's
oh,
like,
I'm not
well,
going to
I'm not
say
gonna say it.
anything.
He's like, you might as well.
Because we should say he goes to the hospital, right? So he's the only one not in the house. The whole house is just openly trying to figure out who the 90s ballad guy is. And honestly, they don't have it. They have no idea who Adam is related to. It's not until Bianca hears When a Man Loves a Woman that she's like, I've got it. Lightning bolt, Bolton, like it all comes together then. But too little, too late. Because it does not matter if you guys figure him out. He already knows you guys. I do want to say, though, there was a funny moment, Douglas. Douglas, you had to go out and walk the dogs. He missed this scene. But when we
No, you
have...
missed the dogs being walked.
Yes, I did. I'm so sorry. When we have, people talking, trying to figure it out, right? We've got all the former players there. And remember, Naomi had Adam's clue. Wait, Adam's clue.
Yeah,
No.
because no,
HUD's
She had
clue.
HUD's clue. She
Sorry.
had HUD's clue. Remember, because she thought it was one of the runaways.
Exactly. So Mackenzie goes up to Naomi and is like, "Help me out. I do not, you had the clue. Who is HUD related to?" And Naomi's like, "Cherry Bomb." And she's like, "You guys don't know who sang Cherry Bomb? Oh, the Runaways. It's whatever her name is, Sherry,
it's
whatever.
Right. It's random lady number 6 from
Yeah.
the Runaways.
Random lady who had a son." And Mackenzie's literally like, no, I don't think so. I think it's a dad first off. And Naomi literally goes, "Whatever, get out and don't win. Fine, whatever." Like, Naomi does not believe her, is like totally been set this whole time on the Runaways thing. And when Mackenzie's like, there were melons, and the final clue at the final challenge said Diane and Jack on his billboard. And she's like, "Isn't Jack and Diane a thing?" She's like, "Who sings Jack and Diane?" Like, she's literally asking. And Naomi's like, "It's the Runaways. It's the Runaways." It was so good. I loved it.
She thought herself out of this game. Because remember, at the beginning, we were like, oh man, she's really got the strategy, and she's really playing, and she's really doing lean forward. But it shows you just like one little brain tangent. She overthought herself, right? Yeah, exactly. Bianca.
Oh, I know. I remember being sad Bianca was out. It's so true. She'd have been great.
Because she was a good clue figurer outer.
Oh, really? That's not an original Michael Bolton song?
No,
Oh, look
Sarah.
at that. I thought that was
that's
his.
No, that's a classic. I even think like on the there's a good soundtrack that has that Percy Sledge version. That's I he does mostly soul covers.
Oh,
He's
really?
like yeah, I think he's like
He doesn't really have originals?
um
Goodness gracious.
yeah, I don't know. I think of him more in like the Bublé Harry Connick Jr. realm, where they have like a maybe 50-50.
Yeah. Look at that. I learned something new. Well, all right. So that's it. That takes us to the final guess off, where Adam gets complete control. He gets to choose who's going to be the guesser, who's going to be the target, and he smartly plays this. I mean, I'm sure he could have messed this up, but he doesn't. He pulls Mackenzie up there first, and
they do a good job of trying to put a little bit of tension into it.
Yeah. Especially like, oh, is he going to remember a name?
Another thing that I think, so can't blow up somebody's game at the thing. Don't use people's names as part of the nickname. And
clues.
When someone steps up there, they should not be able to have any written material in front of them, whether it's written on their hand or otherwise. Because I was really worried for this last one that he was going to have Trace Adkins written on his hand or something like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully that was an adjustment they made during the season. But when he walked up there and he had whoever's name written.
Right. Whose name was that? Yeah, he's going to say Trace Adkins without any help. He had it. He is correct. So therefore, Mackenzie is now eliminated. It is her dad, yada, yada. Then finally, he's going to bring HUD up, and he's going to accurately say John Mellencamp. Again, with the edit, they're like, is he going to say the wrong name?
Right.
But no.
They tried.
They did. And so that is it. Adam is the winner. And I honestly, I know we laughed about him winning throughout the bulk of this season, but he earned this win. He figured them out.
And
that's the name of the game.
This takes us back to the beginning of our episode here, because I think I've said before, he's stupid like a fox.
Yeah.
So I consider him a fox.
Oh, Oh, back. Yep. Look at that.
So he's fox.
He did it. He didn't have anybody's help. He figured out John Mellencamp. He figured out Trace Adkins. I don't think anyone else was going to figure out Trace Adkins.
No, he really did. I don't think that was in anyone else's
Uh-uh.
mind. Uh, and it's Sarah. Where would this sit for you in terms of like a villain winning
Oh, I don't think
a
he's a
season?
villain. I don't think he's a villain at all. I think that he had
Is stupid a crime?
opposition. It's not a crime. Um, he seemed not very bright. Well, I'd say pop culture bright, but he definitely knew enough references to win. And people were trying to get him out for so long, and
I
they
think
couldn't do
his
it.
Yeah. No, I
It
think
just
a
turned out to
lot
be
of these
fun.
people have some selfishness or some entitlement
Yeah,
from a familial connection because of their familial connection to fame.
yeah.
And he definitely had that. I think that was a turnoff for me on him.
I mean, he wasn't even, when it's your uncle, like
Right,
he
but he
wasn't
was just kind of,
raised posh, but he
well, he
definitely
was
had
just
some
kind of,
entitlement for sure.
yeah. Um,
No matter where that came from. I don't know.
uh, but I thought they mined a very good 2 hour finale out of this
Yeah.
season. I really enjoyed that block. I liked seeing everyone come back. It was good to uh, see those faces and make you want. Oh boy, I would have liked to see like Bianca. Oh, I would have liked to see Bianca play more because when you saw how sharp she was in terms of like figuring out clues, you're like, oh, well, she could have played a really
Yeah.
strong game.
Yeah.
But that is the nature of claim to fame, is you're competing against other people's knowledge of pop culture, other people's knowledge of uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, their lived experience, and you just don't know what their reference is. So, Sarah, would you like to see more uh, connection combos like Molly Ringwald and John Cryer? Wait, do you like those or do you not like those?
I don't think it matters. Like, I think that's funny. And it was cute because when they did come back, like, they they don't get to see each other apparently. They're sequestered by themselves. So whenever Gracie Lou found out afterward, she was like, "Oh my gosh, we're like basically cousins." Like I think that's cute. I don't think it's necessary for the game. I also did read some of Shane's exit press, and he said that he talked a lot about spending time at Neverland in front of Diedrich, and afterwards felt stupid when he found out that he was related to Michael Jackson. Like, oh, look at
Right.
stupid me talking about being at Neverland. Like, so I mean, that is funny and cute. And then afterwards, they were like, "Did we ever get cross
Uh-huh.
paths? Have we
Right.
met before?" But that doesn't really bring anything to me. I don't care if they have those connections. I want
I think it's
strategy. I want
sometimes
people
fun.
to try to win, and I want some people to have pop culture references, and I want some people to be stupid and not be able to figure it out. That's what makes a good game.
Yeah. I think it's fun sometimes, like with something like Pretty in Pink, that both of those actors are in that movie.
Yeah.
Uh, it is, both of them would have anxiety around a clue about that
Yeah.
coming up.
Right. I mean, I do like that streetcar could have been used for multiple things. That's more fun because then people can freak out about the clue
I thought
individually.
the white cowboy hat. Because I associate that with Alan Jackson, which in
For
my
sure.
mind I think of Alan Jackson as tall, and you were like, he's not tall. Uh,
No, he's not that tall. Mm-mm.
uh, but I associate him with a white cowboy hat. I think
Yeah.
you could say like, oh, well, I can. There's at least 3 or 4 um, country musicians that I can associate with a white cowboy hat.
Yeah, a white hat does not give away Trace Adkins, that's for sure. But just a cowboy hat, I guess, counts. So I would rank this was not the greatest season. We've definitely had more strategic seasons, but the cast is always fun or has been fun. I enjoyed this cast, and I just love Frankie and Kevin. Right?
Oh, I thought they did up.
They're so good.
And a mark in this season's favor is whether it's just having done it a couple times. I feel like the little interstitial setups were sharper, were a little bit more fun, and that last challenge I thought was great. The way that they physicalized it, I like the smell, taste, touch.
Mm-hmm.
Them trying that one this season, I thought that was disgusting and.
I think they made the telephone game a little too hard. I hope they dial that back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree. The challenges are great. The hosts are great. The show is super, super fun. Keep it coming. We want to keep watching it.
Yeah, let's hope they do, because there's no shortage of celebrity people.
Right?
I wouldn't mind a themed season.
Okay. That might be too giveaway. E.
I know, but well, I think if you did it like, maybe a broad category, you know, the 90s or something like that. Like if you just took a whole decade,
Yeah.
or something like that, or maybe even something that's newer.
I mean,
Like
we'd
if you-
love it if it was all old references, if they're all grandparents.
Oh, and I think we've said this before of like distant relatives. Like if they did one that was like all people from before 1900.
Oh,
Like to
I don't
say,
know about that.
I have a relationship to Abraham Lincoln, and I have a relationship to.
no. Because we want them to have some sort of story. Like, we want to hear them say, like, oh, they took me to a toy store and closed it down
Taken
for
them to
me.
Toy Story, or Toy
We
Story
could do that
2,
too.
or Toy
Yeah.
Story 3, or Toy Story 4. They could have taken them to see any
Take
of the
your
Toy Story
pick.
movies. Yeah.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for watching along with us this season. We appreciate it. If you joined us in the chat, you were fun and amazing. We appreciate it. If you are joining later, let us know how you felt about Adam's win. It wasn't everyone's first pick, but I stand by it. He earned it.
He, even if half of it was accidental, he earned it by other people's behavior as well.
Well,
So,
true.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. To that point, Mackenzie and Hud lost it. So.
Hey, Sarah, let's get together for a coffee or a cocktail sometime and
Okay.
talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Great.
Yeah.
I'll see you around a little bit.
Sounds
All right, you guys. We'll see you next time. I have Survivor coming up. Douglas will not be here for that, but I will definitely be here, and so will David. So stay tuned for Survivor content coming at you real quick. All right. We'll see you next time.